Hello everyone. Let's talk about the latest Bond film, Daniel Craig's last, No Time to Die. So first off, with a franchise like this, I do think it is well worth pointing out that I'm not as much of a diehard fan as I know many of you are out there. Yes, I do very much like the series and I look forward to new installments, but it's just not the same type of enthusiasm and attention to detail that I have with other franchises out there. Just felt important to note that so you have a sense of where I'm coming from with this one here. So let's get into a synopsis. I'm going to give you a very brief one for this. Bond winds up on another mission, a mission that happens to be tied to Madeleine Swann's childhood and also involves a biowarfare threat. I don't want to take it any further than that, of course, to avoid spoilers, but also because it just doesn't really feel necessary in this particular case. It doesn't feel needed in analyzing the film here because No Time to Die has a very classic Bond film feel to it. It plays within the framework of the franchise, but it also does manage to find ways to show off just enough of a unique vibe, sense of humor, and confidence. And I really do think that the latter quality can be seen coming in handy quite often when it comes to certain beats that might not have been as strong on the page as they are on screen, or at least I suspect that's the case here. You know, I'm not going to say all of these work, but the movie does have a whole bunch of cheeky one-liners that, yeah, they can be pretty cheesy, but I personally very much enjoyed the delivery of those lines and also the fact that the movie had a sense of humor amidst this very serious world threat and also a slew of extremely intense action sequences. And wow, those action sequences are so incredible. This has happened before with this franchise, of course, but No Time to Die in particular, it just seems like Cary Fukunaga and that camera department really knew what they were doing when it came to crafting stunning visuals, always making sure that you had a very clear sense of the geography, even when there was a whole lot going on in a particular sequence. And also, and this is super important, making everything feel real and dangerous. And I have to give a lot of that credit to Daniel Craig, too. I'm not 100% sure when it's him and when it's a stunt performer, but I don't know, it did really look to me like he did a lot of his stunt work in this movie, and I thought he sold it all exceptionally well. I was also really struck by the more emotional tinges to Craig's work this time around. I mean, it really does wind up functioning as a very powerful beating heart to No Time to Die, and it really also winds up upping the stakes of those action sequences quite a bit too. I'm also convinced that I really could feel Craig giving every ounce of himself to this role. Not that he didn't do that before, but there's just something about where he takes Bond in this particular film that just felt so deeply human to me, and like something that wouldn't have been possible without an actor going just above and beyond in every single scene of what had to be a mighty challenging and demanding movie to film. As for the supporting cast here, Léa Seydoux is great again as Madeleine Swann, and as I'd hoped and expected, Lashana Lynch does make a big impression, but who is actually Ana de Armas, who, I guess I have to say, kind of stole the movie for me. Her part was above and beyond my favorite, and I don't want this to come across like I was surprised that she was real good in it, because she's actually fantastic in, I think, everything I've ever seen her in, now that I'm really thinking about it. But I think I was just so focused on some of the other new casting that that's the reason why she caught me by surprise so much. And also, so did the type of character that she plays, for that matter. She's just like bubbling with energy and charm in that particular role, and I just plain old couldn't get enough of it. As for Romney Malik now, I thought he did what he could with the character, but he just wound up feeling a little bit thin to me. While I did understand his motivation, I kept catching myself wanting to know a little more, get a little more clarity on exactly how he wound up where we find him in this movie, and also how he goes about achieving certain things. But in broad strokes, the role does work. Again, you know, I do not want to touch any spoilers whatsoever in this review, but I do at least want to vaguely tell you what I think of the ending because, of course, this is it for Daniel Craig, and how they handle his send-off is very important. So, ultimately, I was mighty satisfied with how his run in this franchise wrapped up. I thought it was handled with great care and also great purpose. And I think I'll just leave it at that. Score time now. I am giving No Time to Die 3.5 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. I do have to mention the running time on this one because it's a long movie and I felt it. No Time to Die does manage to sustain a good deal of that 2 hour and 43-minute running time, but there are some pacing issues. And I would say I felt the most from roughly the midpoint to just before the third act kicks in. But, you know, there's really just no stopping Daniel Craig in this role, and also a supporting cast where so many of its members take what's on the page and they make it their own. And then on top of that, those mind-blowing and extremely exhilarating action sequences. So that's it. That's where I'm going to leave you on No Time to Die. I'm not going any further than that, but I hope that you do. I hope that you see the movie when it comes out and then jump in that comment sections and tell me your thoughts on the movie. Do you think this was a good final film for Craig? I want to know what you think as well. I also want to take a moment to give some Patreon shout-outs because this is a great group right here. That includes Iman, Avery, Travis, Wessel, Carol, and James. It makes me so happy to say your names and to get to repeat them because it means a lot to me that you're here at all, but it also means so much to me that you are returning members. It makes all the difference that you are here and you keep coming back to support this channel that I love so much. So thank you. Thank you for the support. Big thanks to everybody out there for watching this review too. Stay tuned. Got more on the way super soon.